Deprogram Enlightener.
So, yeah, family, the PDF 5444E is actually a Bureau of the Public Debt, form. It's actually essentially something um, that one uses for the Treasury Direct Account Authorization. So, it's essentially what it is, family. And no one out there is teaching you this like Taza Doc Shore. It's actually an application um, for the Treasury Direct Account. The TDAs are routinely used for government investments, because, you're not claiming and you're not tapping into your account. So having one set up makes the transactions between them and you easier. That's all it's really doing. And so, you know, as I want to facilitate in this video, the easiest way to do this, is completing one of these forms. And this form is actually the easiest to use um, in their particular system. It's not, this TDA is not, necessarily a bank account. Um, um, it's not really a bank account. It's almost like an invisible account, but the fiduciaries that you've established will actually have direct access to this account as well. And it makes it very, very simple to manage. But I want you to take notice that, you know, it must be signed in front of the financial officer. And when I say a financial officer, um, I mean, if you walk into a bank, you may actually want to go up to the bank notary. And, if they ask, what is this document? I would simply just, point to the title of the document and read it to them so that they could actually get an understanding. But it's not your or my responsibility to teach them. It's a Treasury Direct account. It's the TDA. You want to try to be as polite as possible. Don't be condescending or anything like that. And so, a bank notary almost always uses a stamp that actually signifies that they are actually signing on behalf of the bank. So it actually solves the issue smoothly without any hassle, if you understand what I'm saying. So most of the time, it could be actually done smoothly. Now, there are those banks that may not understand financing, and if you run into one of these banks, they will tell you that you need to speak to their supervisor and so on and so forth. And if they do, and they don't know what they're doing, then I simply suggest that, go to another bank for educational purposes only. So, I mean, look it up, do some research on, the application for the Treasury Direct Account. And remember, Taza Doc Shore told you about it first. And if you don't know about this, you really want to learn about this and everything else, then become a secure party creditor. Contact Taza Doc Shore now at creditors debtors contracts at yahoo.com, or just visit the website www.creditorsdebtorscontractsandcommerce.org and become a secure party creditor now. Like the brother Al Tariq says, what are you waiting for? Shalom, 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 shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbarakatah. Once again, you're now under the sounds of the voice of your brother, Kahan Tazadak. And as usual, this is not legal advice. I do not offer legal advice. If you need legal advice, seek yourself or yourselves competent counsel, and then please be advised. Everything I'm about to give you is strictly for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained with the information that I be putting out there and giving to you? So today, I'm going to call this lecture right here, fake YouTube creditors, secured party creditor form 5444E, a bank financial officer, which is the bank notary, and accessing your TDA account, your Treasury Direct account. That's the new fad right now. Like all of these damn Johnny come lately, fly by night, overnight, sovereign so-called gurus is actually talking about TDA, telling you lies that they know how to access your TDA account and get many of you locked up because they don't know right knowledge. So what I'm about to do through the spirit of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah, is to give you right knowledge. This video is setting the record straight on the TDA account. If you haven't watched my other video on this, you might want to go and watch that video also. You see, there's a lot of people out there that be hating because I give you this right knowledge, beyond the shadow of a doubt. And by the way, see, I have my hoodie on. It's hoodie season. Where's George Zimmerman at? It's hoodie season. And because you know what? A lot of you have become effeminized because of the system. They have you in fear. But there's a few real cats still left out there. And I'm one of the real last Ikes left. If you can't give me nothing else over the years, you could give me that I've been real. And so I'm looking for the George Zimmermans out there that be actually hating, online, talking real slick online. You know what I mean? I'm looking for those George Zimmermans. It's definitely hoodie seasons, and you will not find me without my Bernie Mac. Understand that. Understand that. It's hoodie season, and I walk around with my Bernie Mac. Understand that. And I know real live cats understand and understand what I'm saying. But all you fake debtors trying to walk around, act like creditors, and you're misleading our people and leading our people straight. If you keep acting like Chris, you might just get robbed. Understand that. Understand that. So with that being said, you got a lot of debtors out there trying to act like creditors, but you're really just a bunch of damn debtors. You're really just a bunch of damn dumb debtors with smartphones. A bunch of debtors with smartphones. So with that being said, family, when you come to this channel, when you deal with Tazadak Shore, you get right knowledge. You get the truth from me, but the debtors are going to lie. They're going to lie. Really, being real in this day and time, brothers, it's a rare breed. I'm one of the last real Ikes left. I didn't say I was the last, but I'm one of the last that's actually destined by the most high. And I'm going to say this. A lot of you are being deterred because you have a lot of debtors in your circle. You have debtors who are family members, and they don't want you to walk down this path. They want you
to be negative and on a degenerate substandard level like them, because they are debtors, because they are 14th Amendment citizens. So I'm going to say to you, anyone that's around you that's complaining, you have to kick them to the curb. You have to kick them out of your friggin' life, because they are wasting your time. They're wasting your time. And they're stagnating you. Your destined is to live righteously and be as great as you can be. See, when you perish, you don't want some people mourning over you and so on and so forth. You know, when you perish, when you go into the spiritual form, you want on your tombstone that, you know, your life was not wasted, that you have no regrets on your tombstone. That's what you want. Your life was complete and you have no regrets. So anyone that's in your life that's trying to prevent you from doing that has got to go. You have to go after what you believe in. If you want to be a creditor, if you want to be debt free, go after what you believe in. Stop listening to the naysayers. Stop listening to the naysayers. You have to give it all that you have to give. You have to study. You have to research late into the night, night after night, after night, after night. This is what I did. And so, whenever you go into the arena, you could go in and you have your hands raised in the arena. See, and even if you don't make it in the arena with your hands held high, I respect you more, and you will get more respect failing than someone saying, what if? Oh, I should have. Talking about what you should have done, because I should have and what if will never make it into the arena, because a man that tries and fails is 100 times greater than a what if, because a what if will never make it into the arena. At least you tried, at least you gave it your all, and I'm gonna hit you with something. As long as you keep getting back up and trying, you will accomplish your dreams. You will accomplish your goals. So shalom, family. Peace, peace. Peace and love. Long life and light to all of you. I'm Real Talk. I love you. This is why I do this. Many people wonder why I do this. Keep putting, my life on the line. Risky, getting approached by alphabet boys and so on and so forth. It's because I love you, family. It's because this was my purpose for being placed upon this earth. So all the real Ikes out there, much love and respect to all of you. All of you that's fighting this battle, this revolutionary war, which is an ideological war, which is a spiritual war, in commerce, I respect you. See, I am certain that you've actually noticed these debtors. There's an influx of debtors on YouTube and online that placating on your emotions and pretending to understand contract law, pretending to be creditors. There's an influx of debtors on YouTube pretending to be secured party creditors and claiming that they have actually accessed their TDA account. Now, if you go back a few months, a year, they wasn't talking TDA. But now that's the new fad. And you know what? Some of you are jumping on the bandwagon with these unlearned persons, and they're going to get you jammed up and locked up. Avoid these persons like the HIV plague. Avoid these persons like the HIV plague. You can usually detect them by simply asking certain questions that they cannot answer. These people know just enough to get you locked up for a very long time. So I'm warning you, family, do not trust someone that just went out and watched a few YouTube videos and now they assume they can teach you right knowledge. See, one cannot become an expert with contract law overnight. One will not comprehend, offer, and acceptance overnight. This took years for me. And this system is now governed by contract law known as the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. It controls the social military construct that is now known as the United States, which is a corporation according to 28 USC 3002 subsection 15A. Don't believe me? Go and check it out. Go and check it out for yourself. Matter of fact, write that code down and go and look it up, and you're going to find out that the United States is a corporation, just like Walmart, just like McDonald's. So the only thing that actually happened, to those of you that's watching my video for the first time, and by the way, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with at least 10 people, and watch this at least 5 times so it could be embedded into your subconscious mind, because repetition is the father of learning. The more that you're listening to something, the more that you hear it, it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it. You just act and it's done. So we live within this matrix that is a military social construct known as the United States. And the persons that we are attempting to free are fighting us to remain slaves within the matrix, just like the movie. But it was not just a movie. It was a depiction of real life America and throughout the world. Because these slaves are fighting us due to their programming by their de facto government, who are controlled by the Rothschild bankers, the Rockefeller bankers, and so on and so forth. Now, also, these British-owned esquires, which are actually titles of nobility, which is not supposed to be able to hold office if you're a title of nobility. But it shows you the type of government that you have. It is a de facto government, existing in fact, but not officially established. It pretends. It's color of law. So if you are part of that faction that are teaching right knowledge, then you are a revolutionary like myself, and you are a threat, and you will be dealt with. You will be monitored. You will be followed, and they will wait for you to make a mistake. Understand that. So if you want to walk down this path, you can't walk in bitch mode. You got to be ready to put your life on the line. You got to show thyself to be a man, as it says in the book 1 Kings 2 verse 2. So if you are a revolutionary teaching right knowledge, then you are deemed an enemy of the state by way of the Trading with the Enemy Act. Tazadak became an enemy of the state because of the Trading with the Enemy Act, and I refuse to be a slave. So I warn you that very few have the power to fight this revolution. They talk the talk, but they run when the beast let them things spark. When the beast turns up the heat. When the beast sends out their minions in all of these alphabet fashions, and then they threaten you, they intimidate you, and they compel you to comply with the social construct known as the United States, and you conform. Now, most of you are under the sound of my voice. You are actually debtors, and you actually have been emasculated from your manhood by way of financial means. And then, by way of the media and by way of this pressure from your de facto, saying that, well, it's okay to be a homosexual, it's okay to be a lesbian, and so on and so forth. They're actually really emasculating many men You've lost your manhood. You've been raised by women in a feminist society, and you've actually been effeminized like a Kanye West. You walk around in clothes that look like the clothes that women have on. So you've actually been mentally transformed into a bitch mode, and many men have been taught to behave like women. You argue, you bicker like women. Well, that's the status of a debtor. Creditors do not argue, king. Get your mind right, young king. Creditors do not argue. The Heavenly Father never told us to be docile and soft-spoken. The book of 1 Kings 2 verse 2 say, go thy way of all the earth, be thy strong, and therefore show thyself to be a man. So I'm talking to you, king. I'm talking to you, young king. Show thyself to be a man. Stand up. Fight for your rights, because guess what? If you don't get in and become part of this revolution, we're not going to make it. Show thyself to be a man. Stand up. Be strong. And and by the way, I respect many of the strong Akim of Yasha Allah, like the whole AOC camp in the King Hashar, the whole line of Israel camp, Lions of Israel camp, and then Ya Allah, the whole ISUPK camp under Commandant General Yohana, GOCC. All of the believing men of Yasha Allah out there that's actually showing themselves to be men and are not bound down to this damn beast. So with that being said, family, one might ask, Tazadak, what is it? What is all this talk about TDA? Is it really a remedy? First, before I go there, something I want you to do. I say this. If you want to understand TDA, if you want to understand what being a secured party creditor is, get my books. Contact me now. What are you waiting for to become a secured party creditor? You will not gain access to this without being a creditor, a secured party creditor. A debtor, this is not working for many of you because you got these damn fly-by-night fake sovereign gurus that's telling you can access a TDA account and you're still in a debtor status. You're still in a corporate ward status. You're still in a 14th Amendment slave status. So that means their statutes, their codes, their laws, their regulations, their rules apply to you because you are in a debtor status. You are in a corporate ward status. You are a debtor slave, to be precise. So what is the first thing you need to do? Well, you need to get Tazadak's book, The Infliction of Commerce. You could get it on the website, my website, www.creditorsdebtorscontractsandcommerce.org, or you could get it on Amazon. And also, my latest book, you need to get this. This is the second edition, Commercial Warfare. We the People versus Despotism. If you don't clearly understand what despotism is, go and define that word. Stop the video right now because this is what we're up against. We're up against despotism. And guess what? You're losing. Another book that I recommend, Dictionary of Legal Terms. This is the 5th edition right here. Pretty good book. Why? Because our people suffer from aphasia. You've totally lost the ability to comprehend words. Another, I have the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary of Law, which is a pretty good book because I look at it from different angles. Then I have American Law and Legal System. Why am I teaching you this? Because you need to understand contract law and you really need to understand law. To really, intelligently speak about something, you need to really understand it. Another one is Justice is Just Us. It's really just us, folks. I definitely recommend reading that. Another one is The Nature of the Common Law. Do you need all of these? Start out with my books and Brian Blum's book, Contracts, Examples, and Explanation. And for those of you that keep going into these public venues, besides going online and watching all of my videos, one of the other things that I recommend is getting this. Is by Nolo, Represent Yourself in Court. It shows you how to prepare and present a winning, case in civil cases. And so, and another thing I recommend is In Caesar's Grip. Now, this is strictly for Yasha Allah. I recommend this because of a lot of our brothers out there. You've taken these 501c3 grants like Israel United in Christ, and you don't realize what that really does to you. It gives the de facto total control over you. And another book that I would recommend is Legal Words That You Should Know. And you could go in that and define words like de facto, de jure, and so on and so forth. Will give you a clear understanding. Ex post facto and things of that nature. Excise tax, showing you what they are. So back to the matter at hand. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. Family. With that being said, all of these people talking about TDA. But is there really a remedy? Because so many people out there, like the sister that was on Sidnetter's channel, saying that, the whole secured party creditor thing is a scam. Now, of course, you can't go to an Esquire. The sister, with all due respect, her intent may be good, but she is an Esquire. She has a title of nobility, and therefore she works for the British Crown. Now, how can you be working for something and claim to be against it as well? It just don't add up. I deal with mathematics, God. It just don't add up. Now in cipher. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, family. There's only one way that you can protect yourself and your family and your property and your anything else that you may own and your public obligation, and that's becoming a secured party creditor. So what are you waiting for? And with that being said, I also need to mention I'm going to be adding some more things into the packet, such as showing you, if you really want to, do this TDA thing, an application for accessing the TDA account, showing you how to actually start this trust. Because some of you are actually talking about, Taza Doc, does it come with a trust? So I'm going to go ahead and order, I'm going to go ahead and compile putting a trust in that packet as well for anyone that's actually going to purchase this henceforth from August the 5th and beyond. So if you went to the website, you've noticed that the donation amounts have actually changed because I'm actually going to be adding more and more things to enable one to secure the party properly and giving them more and more security. So the only way that I've actually taught you for over 10 years is by asserting your rights with the only unbreakable contract into existence in the world today, which is becoming a secured party creditor, and also within that filing the UCC1 financial statement, which is actually part of the secured party creditor packet that I actually put together. What are you waiting for? Go to the website, donate now. Send an email. So only through becoming a secured party creditor, family, and accepting for value the birth certificate bond and executing a lien upon these de facto created entity is the only way that you're really going to be free. You must put a lien against the all capital letters name. And this is where I disagree with the Moors. again, I love the brother Taj Bey and all the other Moors out there I'm teaching, but you cannot tell our people not to file a UCC-1 lien. Because without that, you're not putting a lien against the debtor, against your strawman, against your corporate construct. See, this is where the Moors go off wrong. Am I denouncing the Moors? No. I'm just saying they're not teaching right knowledge. They're teaching some of the truth. But the real truth is either you're all right. Watch this. I'm not insulting them. Either you're all right or you're not right at all. Either you're all right or you're not right at all. To teach right knowledge is to teach the pure, unadulterated truth. And if you're teaching someone not to file a UCC-1 lien because it's going to put you back in the system, then you truly do not comprehend the law the way that you think you do. No disrespect to my Moorish brothers and sisters. It's wrong. But I got to teach the truth. I got to teach the truth or my creator will kill me. Because I was put here to teach the truth. So we put a lien against that debtor. We put a lien against that debtor. And then the secured party and all of the listings of the debtor, all of his property and everything that the debtor could own and could possibly own in the future, the secured party essentially takes control. So as collateral in our security agreement. So you can effectively and permanently remove yourself from the status of a debtor to the status of a creditor and actually own its property. Whose property? The debtor. Because it's a corporation. And you could actually have access to the enforceable constitutional rights that's actually reserved by the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't give you any rights. It's just a piece of paper. So by filing a secured party creditor packet with your UCC-1 financial statement include, financial statement there, you become an actual secured party creditor with standing in the law and acquire the ability to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Do you understand? Do you understand? And not have the fruits of your labor taxed. Why, Tazadak? Well, honestly, you got to admit, no one else out there is explaining this to you like this because it was not given to them. The Most High gave this mission to me. I'm Yahweh's man in this venue right here. So by filling out the UCC-1 financial statement, you cannot, as a creditor, acquire and access actual original jurisdiction and constitutional rights, as the Constitution only operates upon the agents of government by and through their oath of office. So I'm not a signatory to the Constitution of the Republic or the state. So it doesn't really apply to me, but I use it to keep them in order. Were you one of the signatories of the Constitution of your state or the Republic? The Constitution does not grant rights to the flesh and blood man. It don't grant rights to the living soul. My rights are inherent from Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah. The Constitution is a compact. It is a contract that the private sentiment man, Tazadak, is not a party to. So, as I have no contract with the state or the federal corporation, and I am not a signatory to that social military compact known as the United States. So without me completing the secured party creditor process and my UCC-1 statement, everything that you have been and is pledged and owned by your de facto state. Everything that you think you own, you don't own it the way that you think you do. If you doubt it, those of you that think you own a home, don't pay your taxes. If you think you own it, these de factos is going to send in their minions and take that home from you. If you think you own a car, even if you paid it off, you think you paid it off, you can't pay it off with a fiat currency. So if you don't pay the taxes on it, guess what? They're going to take that from you. It's the state. The state is allowing you the privilege to drive around in their vehicle that you think you own. Why? Because you've never been taught right knowledge. You don't have the allodial title to it. So there's a trust set up. So you have equitable title, but the state has legal title, which is the most important title because they could dictate what you do. Or you got to register it. You got to have insurance on, and so on and so forth. So you merely are the user of the property and must use the property in strict compliance with the rules. This is known as a user fee, which they apply taxes and regulations established by the de facto state. So if acquiring actual control over property and collateral, releasing the secured party creditor from governmental control, and the ability to live without taxation and entrance, if this is what becoming a secured party creditor does, then you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by executing the documents without delay. So again, you want access to TDA? What are you waiting for to become a secured party creditor? That's the question. So the biggest benefit in filing the secured party creditor packet is that you will no longer be a slave. Any person who is to any degree involuntarily subject to the will of another is a slave. Is a slave. There is no degrees of slavery. Understand that. The second part of that, brothers and sisters, of a slave, when I looked in Webster's dictionary, 1828, is that one who surrenders himself to any power whatsoever. And this is actually closer to the real point. So, do you surrender yourself to any power whatsoever? Yes, you do. When these minions come around, you go into bitch mode. You bitch out. You punk out. Show thyself to be a man. Many of you, you won't file documents because you're fear. You suffer from this fear about what might happen. See, the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, governs all commercial transactions in the United States. Any person, including government, corporations, agencies, etc., involved in the sales of goods, commercial paper, banks, deposits, and collections, letters of credit, and so on and so forth. UCC governs mostly every damn thing. Mostly every damn thing. So to comply with the Uniform Commercial Code in your state, a UCC financial statement must be filed with the Secretary of State for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes only, by anyone who makes a claim against any other person in the area of commerce. Do you understand? So all government agencies, as city, county, state, federal, etc., operate in commerce, and all of them, including the Internal Revenue Service, that's right, the IRS, the alphabet boys, are private corporations. I'm going to say it again. The IRS is a private corporation. All courts operate in commerce. All banks operate in commerce. All corporations operate in commerce. And all of these entities, family, all of these entities exist financially because we, the people or their collateral. Did you hear me? They exist because we, the people, our labor, is their collateral. They borrow on our credit. So what the hell you mean you can't settle off a debt? Talking about TDA, Treasury Direct Account. They're borrowing off of your credit. They're tapping into your account because you haven't became a creditor and tapped into your own account for educational purposes. So today, real people, you, I, your sons and daughters, etc., are backed by Federal Reserve notes. Or should I say, let me switch that around. Correction. Federal Reserve notes are backed by the labor of the real people. So, much the same way that the gold and silver backed the Federal Reserve notes in the past, now the Federal Reserve notes are backed by our labor. So, in other words, the living, breathing people guarantee or provide the substance for all money that is actually created. So, the Federal Reserve Bank clearly states that. It says Federal Reserve notes are backed by full faith and credit of the American people. See, I didn't make that up. See, credit means something that is due to you. Credit means something that is due to you. The Federal Reserve uses our credit to create all money. Understand that. So if they're using our labor to create all money, should you not be able to access your TDA account? Other people are not teaching you this because they don't know it. It was not given to them. All of the money created belongs to the American people. Do you understand? And the deceit of the public and private corporations is so complete that they create it. They charge it to us as debt and then track interest on it to top it off. So the American people become warehouse receipts, like a warehouse full of any type of valuable goods. You are a warehouse receipt. So neither the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, nor any other entity of this de facto government files a UCC-1 financial statement into the commercial registry with the Secretary of State. None of them does that. Don't believe me? Go and check it out. Go and check it out for yourselves. So, if they did, they would instantly become subject to all the regulations of the Uniform Commercial Code. So the Internal Revenue Service has done very nicely by bluffing and intimidating you, as all other mentioned, by operating under public policy, where in reality public policy is not law. Public policy is not law at all. See, the state is drawn into commerce when the birth certificate is registered and sent to the Commerce Department in Washington, D.C. Watch this. Watch this. This is where the American people became, this is where you, Yasha Allah, became warehouse receipts upon which all of the money is printed and circulated and is created with a guarantee because of your labor. So in short, Yasha Allah, people became the collateral of all debts. Do you understand? I'm trying to break this down in the most simplistic mode because these other people out there are not teaching you in a manner which you could actually understand. So the people allegedly are government property. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So when your birth certificate was sent to the Department of Commerce, it was registered and the government it was registered And the government, because the government was bankrupt, turned your real name into a fiction in all capital letters. So your fictional name became John Henry Doe. Not in upper and lowercase, but in all capital letters. Now, your all capital letters name was registered as a corporation at the department in Puerto Rico, at the Department of State Corporations. So many of you said, Tazadak, why are we sending something to Puerto Rico? Listen, because I'm teaching you right knowledge. So the Department Estero Division de Corporaciones, P.O. Box 3271, San Juan, Puerto Rico 00904, making you liable for taxes. Do you understand? I'm telling you, these contracts is why you pay taxes. Or you a federal employee? If you're not a federal employee, I have a question. Why are you paying taxes? See, you are a fiction. You are a artificial person. You are a non-living, non-breathing person. You are a straw man because you created joinder with that by way of adhesion contracts. You're a fiction upon which the government brings all of its charges. The charges are always against the debtor. It's always against the straw man. And it never goes against the real man. It never goes against the living soul. But you won't understand this without reading these books that I suggest to you to get your mind right. You need this. You need this. You can't just do this overnight. Because I need you to learn this properly. So you create joinder and you become that fiction. Become that fiction. So like your driver's license now reads John Henry Doe, all capital letters. Or they might put in lower case, then uppercase H, period, then Smith in upper and lower case. See, they play semantics with you. Or when you sign the 1040 tax form, you dutifully fill out the form as John Henry Doe. And then you sign your name under penalty of perjury, and thereby admitting that you will be responsible for all taxes of John Henry Doe, a fictitious corporation, a corporate construct. Now, how can the government use a form of your name and turn it into a fiction, into a corporation without your permission? They can't. See, you sign your own name on the form, which is purely voluntary. It's permission and ignorance. Do you understand? I'm not insulting you, family. I'm not insulting you. I love you. I'm giving you love. I'm giving you right knowledge. I'm setting the record straight. All the fakes out here teaching, they're not giving you this right knowledge. For those who wish to control and own this fiction and prohibit these de facto corporations, including the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, from making a so-called charge against you, the remedy is available to you. I've been saying this for years. You just waking up? It's going to be too late for many of you. You do this, family, the way that I did it. I did it by becoming a secure party creditor. Execute my UCC1 financial statement, amongst other things. I created a public record and distinction between the fiction and the flesh. Many of you were, oh, Taza Doc, I didn't get a response. Brother, you're only creating a public record. You're letting the public record know that there's the distinction between the fiction and you, the living soul. So mostly every living, breathing, and sentient being has a social security card. Is that correct? So the social security number is the account number to the trust, to the TDA account, the Treasury Direct account. Do you understand? They're not teaching you this because they don't understand. what, 10, 12 years ago? You saw my accepted for value video showing you how to access the banking routing number and the number on back. 10 years ago, I taught you that the back is always private and the front is always public, that the number in front of the Social Security card belongs to the de facto, and the number on back is the number that you use to access your account. I taught you that the first letter in front of that number gives you the banking routing number. This is Tazadak Shaw Bey, man. Tazadak Shaw, man. The Most High raised me up for this. Do you understand? So, watch this. The number, the Social Security number, is the account number to the trust. It's maintained through the U.S. for educational purposes only. This is only educational purposes only. I'm not telling you to do anything. It's maintained through the U.S. Secretary of Treasury to the Internal Revenue Service. The Internal Revenue Service calls the Social Security number your tax identification number. Watch this. I'm going to show you how they play semantics with you. And this is why I encourage you to read and study yourself to be approved, which is why you need my book. Whole A for V tactic is in here. The whole way that I authenticated my birth certificate is in here. Many of the documents are in here for educational purposes only. Get this book. You're causing yourself an injury without getting this book and trying to do this. Right knowledge. So brothers, sisters, family, your 10, the tax identification number, is what the Internal Revenue Service calls the Social Security number. Never do they mention our employer identification number, the EIN. Why? Watch this. Watch this. Many self-proclaimed YouTube fly-by-night gurus teach you that we all have a EIN. But I beg to differ. See, I've learned over the years that what we have is an exemption number that's actually indicating the secured party who's actually the holder and is actually exempt from liability. Do you understand? Why are you exempt from liability, Tazadak? If you apply for a new SIN, social insurance number, is what it was called before it was known as a social security number. Not a new number, but a new card. On the back of the card, the number is usually written in red, which is the bond number. It is the bond account, which is established by the de facto upon your SS5 form. This grants access to the TDA. They talking TDA, man. Something I taught 12 years ago. Now you should have listened, because guess what? A lot of these de facto states are trying to block you from becoming creditors. They're telling you that it's a scam, and your mind is so programmed, you go for it. But what if I told you that every government employee works for us? Yasha'Allah. What if I told you that every government is a public servant? What if I told you that their minions are public servants and has no authority unless we break the law? Knowing thus, why don't you unite with a faction of people and become part of a revolution to take back our freedom? I'm not talking about overthrowing no government. I'm talking about getting free with right knowledge. This is an ideological war against spiritual wickedness in high places. Stop trying to fight physically in a spiritual fight. Get your mind right, King. Get your mind right, princess. Now I know that I have nothing to do with this de facto government, and neither do you. So if you are not a signatory to the U.S. GOV or any state constitution, and since you or I are not a party to the state social compact, This means you nor I have anything to do with any government corporations, and the government corporation has nothing to do with us. Do you understand? So I read the tax code. How many of you read the tax code? And you know what? After I read it, now go ahead and tell Orion, pretend that you read it. You usually don't read debtors just sign. Someone explains something to you in 30 seconds, which should have taken you an hour to read, and the typical debtor just signs. Start reading everything, man, and reserve your rights when you sign on everything except for an affidavit for educational purposes only. See, I discovered that in the tax code, the definition of employee under Title 26, United States Code, Section 3401, see, the term employee specifically includes officers and employees, whether elected or appointed of the United States territory or any political subdivision thereof of the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentally of any one or more of the foregoing and no one else. So that exempts me. So what I did is I wrote the Bureau of Vital Statistics in the state in which I was born, and I requested a copy of the long form of my birth certificate. And this is important. Why? Because if you just request any certified copy of your birth certificate, it may come from the county level. You want the one that comes from the Department of Vital Statistics, because that number that they give you from that one is important. That number is of significant importance that they give you from the one that comes from the Department of Vital Statistics. It is important because if you order a birth certificate from the county in which you was born, it's not quite like the one from the Department of Vital Statistics, which is in full color and is actually on banking stock paper. So who else out there, I'm asking you, family, that's teaching you this right knowledge quite like this? Not many. They give you bits and pieces of knowledge. But since I love you, I do not want to see you fall over a bunch of Johnny-come-lately fake sovereign gurus that's teaching you lies. At least I'm real. And I can promise you that. And all of you cats out there from the streets, you know that real dudes do not press up on real dudes because they recognize real. And if a real dude trying to go up against a real dude, he know he's going to take it there. So they respect each other. Real recognize real. Because why? When you're real, you're ready to lay down your life for what you believe in, for what you stand for. You don't bitch out. Real will recognize real. You don't want beef. A real dude, he doesn't want beef with another real dude because he know eventually one of them is going to lose their life. But back to this. The IRS sends a notice to the fiction, John Henry Doe, and says, understand this. This is why I emphasize understanding contract law. Understand that it's just an offer. It's just an offer. So they send you an offer. Everything's about offer and acceptance. Contract is law and law is contract. Why? Because the Uniform Commercial Code governs everything. The Uniform Commercial Code is their law. It's contract. So the IRS sends a notice to John Henry Doe, the fiction, and says that our record indicates that you owe $18,000 in income tax. But watch this now. John Henry Doe has filed his secure party creditor packet because he emulated Taza Doc. Sure. and now has multiple options on how to choose to deal with this matter. Now, John Henry Doe, he's gotten Tazadak Shaw book, Commercial Warfare, We the People versus Despotism. He's gotten The Infliction of Commerce. He's gotten Brian Blum's book. He's gotten himself a Black Lord's Dictionary, 4th edition. He's gotten the Webster's Dictionary, 4th edition. So, John Henry Doe knows that he has to respond from watching Tazadak's videos. Or, if he doesn't respond, he knows that he acquiescence and he goes into dishonor. And then a default judgment will be brought against John Henry Doe, entered in against him. So he also knows from watching Tazadak Shaw's videos that he does not protest their offer or anyone's offer. He knows that you never argue or make statements, because only debtors argue and make statement, and then you get locked up or you pay some fine. So you don't argue whether or not you owe it. And he also knows that depending on which type of notice that the IRS may have sent them, he has either 10 days to respond or 30 days to respond with a counter offer. A counter offer is always a conditional acceptance. Now, if you are truly a secured party creditor and it was done correctly, you know that you may not be required to file taxes. Understand that. And if they say they owe you that you owe $18,000, or if you owe $60,000, the amount does not matter. You never argue the amount, because that is a fact issue. What have I told you 12 years ago? The facts are on the moon. We don't care what the facts are. The IRS want you to argue. They want you to argue about the amount, because the moment that you say, well, I don't owe that many taxes, what did you just do? The moment that you argue, you go into a debtor status, and you've agreed that you owe something by simply saying, I do not owe that much. I don't owe that amount. See, family, people that are claiming to teach you a tap dancing. The IRS wants you to run in and argue and say you don't owe a certain amount, and the moment that you do, you're finished. You've contracted with them and are now subject to their jurisdictions. Creditors do not argue. I say it again and again. So what I do is I discharge the tax liability of my debtor straw man. See, you guys are talking about tapping into your TDA. See, I know when I did my chargeback, I charge up my UCC contract trust account so that I can use the credit to discharge fines, to discharge fees, to discharge taxes, to discharge, set off, settle, and close debts. This is coming from Tazadak Shaw, someone that's actually experienced this. Forget what all these fake sovereign gurus are teaching you. I'm telling you that I've accessed my account to discharge, set off, settle, and close debts. And so I've been doing this for years. And now, since these Johnny-come-lately sovereigns come online and they put something out about tapping into your TDA account, what do you think that I've been doing and teaching for years? But you just didn't get it because you're not taking the time to listen with understanding. It's nothing new, folks. Accessing your TDA account is nothing new. So, what are you waiting for to become a secured party creditor? You have to be a secured party creditor to get this right. See, And in my conclusion, if you donate from this point, the donation amount is going up. Again, because I've added so many things to my packet. I've added so much more information. So today's date, according to their calendar, is July 29th. If you donate from this point and beyond, the donations required are no longer the old donation rates because more information is actually added. So what are you waiting for to become a secured party creditor? You sold yourselves by not understanding adhesion contracts. You sold yourselves into the system. I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness of North Amexem. And if you are of this fold, then you will hear my voice. You will hear my voice. And those that are telling you, oh, this is a scam, it's negative, avoid them like the plague because they're not of this fold. They're part of the 2/3 that's caught up into the matrix and will never hear my voice or the voice like anyone like me. The book of John 10:27 says, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. It's time to get free, people. It's time to get free. Book of Isaiah 52 verse 4 says, for thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, meaning for nothing. You sold yourselves by way of adhesion contracts. You consented. You agreed. And you shall be redeemed without money. How are you going to be redeemed without money? You're going to be redeemed with right knowledge. You're going to be redeemed with learning how to become a secure party creditor. You're going to be redeemed by studying the scriptures and studying the law without money. Because money was taken out of circulation in 1933. Your redemption is right before you. So what are you waiting for to become a secure party creditor? That's the question. What are you waiting for? You're going to be redeemed without money. Without money, family. So with that being said, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my other channel, The Undaunted National, because this is what you must be. You must be totally undaunted. Totally undaunted. And I hope to see you at the seminar in Atlanta, Georgia, August the 19th, 2017, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Be there. It will be very well worth your participation. You will learn something, and you will have the ability to come together with a faction of people that may have the same ideas and concepts, and we from there can grow and start to create venues and avenues to something even greater. So I thank you for listening. I love you, family. Like the video, share the video, share this with your friends and family. But if they don't want to hear it, then hey, shalom, have a nice day. If you're one of the people that's actually going around giving the video a thumbs down, yeah, you're nothing but a loser, because there's nothing negative about this video at all. It's all about upliftment of Yashallah. It's all about upliftment of the people. So if you're not on something positive, you're not really welcome to this channel. Dismiss yourself, because eventually I will find you and you will be dismissed. If you're not part of this fold, then you shouldn't be on the channel. So Tazadak Shore signing off. I thank you all for listening. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabarakatah. Peace and love, family. Kwam Yasha Allah, Kwam Yasha Allah, Kwam Yasha Allah. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Right knowledge.
You don't drink, do you?
No.
No.
time.
You sure you're telling the truth now? We may be a mile underground, but he hears every word.
Yes, it's the truth.
All right. Leviticus chapter 5, verse 2.
Perfect. You're perfect.
Well,
Lady, please.
or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of unclean cattle, or a carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he shall also be unclean and guilty.
Lady, go away.
Don't you want to be saved?
No, I just want to be left alone.
We're never alone, young man. Don't you know that? He's always with us, and he'll help us if we only let him. But we got to be saved first. Here, read this. Take it. Read it.
This is the way to salvation. This is the way to salvation.
To have you, mister, but I won't let him. I'll fight with you and we'll win. Listen to me, mister. It's salvation I'm talking about. No, no, no!
Listen to me, Yasha'Allah. It is salvation that I'm talking about. Everything that I'm giving you is about your salvation. It's about you being able to survive and exit this matrix. It's about you being able to be the man, a woman that the Heavenly Father has destined you to be. And if there's anyone that's in your day-to-day life that's negative, that's cynical, that's trying to deter you from right knowledge, just trying to deter you from being who you are supposed to be, you will have to eliminate them from your life because they're preventing you from your dreams. They're preventing you from your destiny. They're preventing you from your goals, and they have got to go. You have got to be strong enough to eliminate that negative force out of your life. I am Tiza Doc, and this is my view of your and my reality. Kwam, Yasha Allah.